Hare Krishna. So we are continuing to read The Easy Journey to Other Planets by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, page number 10. For a long time, the materialist was limited within the boundary of the 8 material principles mentioned above. Now it is encouraging to see that he has a little preliminary information of the antimaterial principle and the antimaterial universe. We hope that with the progress of time, the materialist will be able to estimate the value of the antimaterial world, in which there is no trace of material principles. Of course, the very word antimaterial indicates that the principle is in opposition to all material qualities. Let's just remember the 8 material principles mentioned yesterday, that is earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. Alright, so there are of course the mental speculators who comment upon the antimaterial principle. These fall into 2 main groups, and they arrive at 2 different erroneous conclusions. One group, the gross materialists, either denies the antimaterial principle or admits only the disintegration of material combination at a certain stage, death. The other group accepts the antimaterial principle as being in direct opposition to the material principle, with its 24 categories. This group is known as the Sankhyaites, and they investigate the material principles and analyze them minutely. At the end of their investigation, the Sankhyaites finally accept only a transcendental, antimaterial, non-active principle. However, difficulties arise for all these mental speculators because they speculate with the help of inferior energy. They do not accept information from the superior. In order to realize the real position of the antimaterial principle, one must rise to the transcendental plane of superior energy. Bhakti Yoga is the very activity of superior energy. So one must rise to the transcendental plane of superior energy to actually find out what is the antimaterial world and what are those principles. Okay. From the platform of the material world, one cannot estimate the real position of the antimaterial world. But the Supreme Lord, who is the controller of both material and antimaterial energies, descends out of his causeless mercy and gives us complete information of the antimaterial world. In this way, we can know what the antimaterial world is. The Supreme Lord and the living entities are both anti-material in quality, we are informed. Thus we can have an idea of the Supreme Lord by an elaborate study of the living entities. Every living entity is an individual person. Therefore, the Supreme Living Being must also be the Supreme Person. In the Vedic literatures, the Supreme Person is properly claimed to be Krishna. The name Krishna, indicating the Supreme Lord, is the only truly intelligible name of the highest order. He is the controller of both material and antimaterial energies, and the very word Krishna signifies that he is the supreme controller. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord confirms this as follows. There are 2 worlds, the material and antimaterial. The material world is composed of inferior qualitative energy, divided into 8 material principles. The antimaterial world is made of superior qualitative energy. Because both the material and the antimaterial energies are emanations of the supreme transcendence, the personality of Godhead, it is proper to conclude that I, Lord Krishna, am the ultimate cause of all creations and annihilations. Because the Lord's 2 energies, inferior and superior, manifest the material and the antimaterial worlds, he is called the Supreme Absolute Truth. Lord Krishna explains this in the Bhagavad Gita thus: I am, Arjuna, the highest principle of transcendence, and there is nothing greater than me. Everything that be rests on my energies exactly like pearls on a thread. Long before the discovery of the principles of antimatter and the antimaterial worlds, the subject was delineated in the pages of Bhagavad Gita. The Gita itself indicates that its philosophy had previously been taught to the presiding deity of the sun, which implies that the principles of the Bhagavad Gita were expounded by the personality of Godhead long before the battlefield of Kurukshetra, at least some 120 million years before. Now modern science has just discovered a fraction of the truths that are available in the Bhagavad Gita. The assumption of an antimaterial universe is also found in the Bhagavad Gita, and from all data available, it is to be assumed without the slightest doubt that the antimaterial world is situated in the antimaterial sky, a sky which is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as Sanatana Dham, or the eternal nature. Exactly as material atoms create the material world, the antimaterial atoms create the antimaterial world with all its paraphernalia. The antimaterial world is inhabited by antimaterial living beings. In the antimaterial world, there is no inert matter. Everything there is a living principle, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that region is God Himself. The denizens of the antimaterial world possess eternal life, eternal knowledge, and eternal bliss. In other words, they have all the qualifications of God. We'll have to stop here for today, and tomorrow we will basically dive into what is that antimaterial world and how different it is from the material world. Now, this sounds awesome and incredible, and the best thing about it is that it's all the absolute truth. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time. Hare Krishna.